The dying light. The story opens with the ancient Keth civilization facing extinction. Ambassador Vex stands on the observation deck of their failing orbital station, watching their home planet Kethra slowly die. The once blue world now appears gray and lifeless. Their advanced technology, which sustained them for thousands of years, is breaking down. Their energy sources are depleting, and their population has dropped to mere thousands. The Keth were once a proud species. They built vast cities that floated in the clouds of gas giants. They mastered clean energy and peaceful expansion across 17 star systems. But their gentle nature became their weakness when the Void Hunters arrived. These parasitic entities consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but empty space behind. The Keth tried to fight, but their weapons were designed for exploration, not war. Now, only 3 Keth worlds remain. Their defense fleet consists of a handful of ships with failing shields. Their leaders meet in the Grand Chamber, a crystalline dome that once hosted celebrations, but now echoes with desperate whispers. Elder Kor, the oldest among them, speaks of ancient legends about a young species from a distant world called Earth. Humans had contacted the Galactic Council only 50 years ago. Most civilizations considered them primitive and dangerous. Their planet was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, a place so hostile that most species would die within hours. The humans seemed to thrive in conditions that would kill others instantly. They lived on a world with violent weather, deadly creatures, and unstable geology. Vex remembers the first human delegation. They arrived in crude metal ships that looked like they were built for war. The humans were shorter than most species, but carried themselves with unusual confidence. Their leader, Captain Reed, had scars on his face and hands that told stories of survival. When other ambassadors mocked their primitive technology, the humans simply smiled. The Galactic Council had dismissed humanity's offer to help with galactic security. The older civilizations believed that peace and diplomacy were the only civilized solutions. War was considered barbaric, something that advanced species had evolved beyond. The humans returned to their system quietly, but they left behind a communication beacon. As the Void Hunters consumed the 4th Keth world, Elder Kor makes a desperate decision. Against the wishes of the other leaders, he authorizes Vex to activate the human beacon. The message is simple: we are dying. We need help. Will you come? The response arrives within hours. Captain Reed's voice crackles through their failing communication system. We're on our way. Hold the line. The transmission includes something that chills and excites the Keth tactical data, showing that humans have been studying the Void Hunters for decades. Asterisk, 3 days later, the human fleet arrives at the edge of Keth space. The sight shocks everyone. Who witnesses it? Instead of the small exploration vessels they remember, massive warships emerge from hyperspace. These ships are built like fortresses, covered in armor plating and bristling with weapons that no peaceful civilization would ever create. The flagship, named Endurance, contacts the Keth station. Captain Reed requests permission to dock, but his tone has changed. This is not the diplomatic human from 50 years ago. This is a military commander preparing for war. The Keth grant permission, knowing they have no other choice. When Reed arrives on the station, he brings with him a team of specialists. Dr. Stone is a xenobiologist who has spent years studying alien life forms. Commander Lopez leads a unit of soldiers whose equipment looks both primitive and terrifyingly effective. Engineer Park examines the Keth technology with expert eyes, immediately understanding their limitations. Reed explains that humanity has been preparing for this moment since their first contact with the galaxy. They knew that eventually a threat would emerge that peaceful civilizations couldn't handle. The humans had spent 50 years building weapons, training soldiers, and developing strategies that other species would find horrifying. The Void Hunters are not unknown to humanity. Dr. Stone reveals that Earth's governments have captured and studied several smaller entities that attempted to scout their system. The humans discovered that these creatures are vulnerable to specific frequencies of radiation that exist naturally on Earth. More importantly, they learned that the Void Hunters avoid Deathworlds because the chaotic energy signatures interfere with their feeding process. Commander Lopez presents a battle plan that makes the Keth leaders uncomfortable. The humans intend to use tactics that seem cruel by galactic standards. They will use the Void Hunters' feeding behavior against them, creating traps that exploit their natural instincts. The plan requires the Keth to abandon their remaining cities and evacuate to temporary shelters. Engineer Park examines the failing Keth technology and makes modifications that should be impossible. He combines human engineering with Keth energy systems, creating hybrid weapons that are both elegant and destructive. The Keth watch in amazement as their peaceful tools are transformed into instruments of war. The first Void Hunter scouts arrive while the preparations are still underway. The creatures are massive, shifting masses of dark energy that consume light itself. They move through space like living shadows, leaving trails of emptiness behind them. The Keth defense ships try to intercept them, but their weapons pass harmlessly. Through the entities, the human ships engage immediately. Their weapons discharge with colors that hurt to look at directly. The Void Hunters, which had seemed invincible, suddenly writhe in apparent pain. For the first time in years, the creatures retreat. The Keth realize that humanity's violent nature might be exactly what their civilization needs to survive. The main Void Hunter force arrives within a week. The creatures emerge from dark space in numbers that blot out the stars. Their presence makes reality itself seem unstable, as if the universe is being slowly erased. The Keth evacuation is nearly complete, but their civilization's greatest treasures, libraries, art galleries, historical archives remain vulnerable on the surface. Captain Reed establishes his command center on the orbital station. The human military operates with an efficiency that amazes the Keth. Every movement has purpose. Every decision is made quickly and executed without hesitation. The humans have transformed the peaceful Keth space into a war zone, complete with minefields, defensive positions, and communication networks designed for battle. Dr. Stone works with Keth scientists to understand the enemy better. The Void Hunters are revealed to be a form of parasitic consciousness that feeds on the life energy of entire civilizations. They are drawn to peaceful, stable societies because such civilizations produce the most refined energy. Aggressive, chaotic worlds like Earth produce energy that is toxic to them, which explains why they have never attacked humanity. The human strategy becomes clear as the battle begins. Instead of trying to protect everything, they will make calculated sacrifices. Some Keth worlds will be used as bait to draw the Void Hunters into carefully prepared traps. This approach horrifies the Keth leaders, who have spent millennia trying to preserve every life and every achievement of their civilization. Commander Lopez leads the first major engagement. Her soldiers use weapons that fire concentrated bursts of the same chaotic energy that exists naturally on Earth. The Void Hunters react to these weapons like living beings, encountering poison. For the first time, the creatures show fear, retreating from battles they should easily win. The humans reveal another shocking capability. They can track the Void Hunters through dark space. Engineer Park has modified Keth sensors using technology derived from Earth's harsh environment. The humans explain that surviving on a Deathworld requires the ability to detect threats that hide in seemingly empty spaces. This skill translates directly to hunting creatures that exist between dimensions. As the battle intensifies, the Keth begin to understand why other galactic civilizations feared humanity. The humans fight with a combination of intelligence and savagery that no peaceful species could match. They use the Void Hunter's own nature against them, turning their feeding instincts into weaknesses that can be exploited. The turning point comes when Dr. Stone discovers that the Void Hunters are connected through a hive consciousness. If the primary entity can be located and destroyed, the entire swarm will collapse. The challenge is that the primary entity hides in the deepest layers of dark space, a region where most species technology fails completely. Captain Reed volunteers to lead a mission into dark space using specially modified human ships. The vessels are designed to survive in the chaotic environment between dimensions, using technology that mimics Earth's unstable geological conditions. The Keth realize that humanity's violent world has prepared them for challenges that would destroy any other civilization. Asterisk. The mission into dark space begins with 3 human ships designed for the impossible journey. The vessels look crude compared to elegant Keth technology, but they are built to survive conditions that would tear apart more sophisticated designs. Captain Reed leads the mission personally, accompanied by Dr. Stone and a small team of specialists. Dark space is revealed to be a nightmare realm where normal physics barely function. Reality shifts constantly, time moves in unpredictable patterns, and the very concept of existence becomes uncertain. The human ships navigate through this chaos, using instruments that were originally designed to function in Earth's extreme environments. The Keth watch the mission through long-range sensors, amazed that any technology can survive in such conditions. Their own probes had been destroyed instantly when they attempted similar reconnaissance years ago. The humans, however, seem to treat the hostile environment as just another challenge to overcome. Dr. Stone makes a crucial discovery during the journey. The Void Hunters are not native to dark space. They are refugees from a civilization that destroyed itself through war millennia ago. Their consumption of other civilizations is an attempt to recreate the energy patterns of their lost homeworld. This revelation changes everything about the conflict. The primary entity is found at the center of a massive structure that exists partially in normal space and partially in dark dimensions. The creature is ancient and intelligent, capable of communication through energy patterns that bypass normal language. When Captain Reed attempts to make contact, the entity responds with confusion and something that might be grief. Through Dr. Stone's translation efforts, the humans learn the Void Hunters' tragic history. They were once a peaceful civilization, similar to the Keth, but they developed technology that accidentally opened rifts into dark space. The exposure to chaotic energy transformed them into creatures that could only survive by consuming the life force of other civilizations. The entity reveals that it has been searching for a way to end its species' cursed existence for thousands of years. The Void Hunters attack peaceful civilizations not from malice, but because they are desperately trying to find energy patterns that might restore their original nature. However, each world they consume only makes them more monstrous. Captain Reed makes a decision that surprises everyone, including his own crew. Instead of destroying the primary entity, he offers it something unprecedented: asylum on Earth. The human explains that Earth's chaotic energy might be exactly what the Void Hunters need to break their cycle of consumption. The proposal seems insane to both the Keth and the human crew. Bringing such dangerous creatures to Earth could result in humanity's destruction. However, Reed explains that Earth has survived countless extinction events, and humanity has learned to coexist with creatures that would destroy other worlds. The primary entity agrees to attempt the transformation, but warns that the process might fail catastrophically. If the experiment goes wrong, the resulting explosion could destroy entire star systems. The entity offers to sacrifice itself to prevent such an outcome, but Reed refuses to accept a solution that requires unnecessary death. The return journey becomes a race against time as the primary entity begins to weaken. Without the constant feeding from its swarm, the creature starts to fade. The human ships push their engines beyond safe limits, using emergency reserves that were meant for survival in Earth's dangerous environment. Asterisk. The human fleet emerges from dark space with their impossible passenger, arriving at Earth to find that news of their mission has spread throughout the galaxy. Representatives from dozens of civilizations have gathered to witness what many believe will be humanity's destruction. The Galactic Council has even prepared containment fleets, ready to quarantine Earth's system if the experiment fails. Captain Reed ignores the political chaos and focuses on the immediate challenge. The primary Void Hunter entity is dying, and with it, the hope of saving both species. The creature must be exposed to Earth's chaotic energy within hours, or it will collapse completely and trigger the catastrophic explosion it warned about. Earth's governments have spent the past week preparing for the most dangerous experiment in human history. The entity will be brought to the Mariana Trench, where Earth's most extreme conditions create energy patterns similar to those found in dark space. If the transformation succeeds, the creature might regain its original form. If it fails, humanity will face extinction. The descent to Earth's deepest ocean reveals why humans are considered Deathworlders. The crushing pressure, extreme temperatures, and chaotic energy fields would instantly kill most galactic species. The Void Hunter entity, however, begins to respond positively to the environment. For the first time in millennia, the creature shows signs of stability. Dr. Stone monitors the transformation process from a heavily shielded observation post. The entity's dark energy patterns begin to shift, taking on characteristics that resemble normal matter. The process is slow and painful, but it appears to be working. The creature is remembering what it was like to exist without consuming other life forms. The breakthrough comes when the entity successfully manifests a physical form in Earth's environment. The creature appears as a being of living crystal, beautiful and complex in ways that peaceful civilizations could appreciate. More importantly, it no longer radiates the hunger that had driven its species to consume entire worlds. Word of the successful transformation spreads throughout dark space, reaching the scattered Void Hunter swarms. One by one, the creatures cease their attacks on galactic civilizations and begin the journey to Earth. The planet that most species considered too dangerous to visit becomes a sanctuary for beings that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Keth civilization survives and begins to rebuild with human assistance. Ambassador Vex works alongside Captain Reed to establish new protocols for galactic security. The partnership between peaceful civilizations and humanity's military expertise creates a defense network that can handle threats beyond conventional warfare. Elder Kor lives to see his people's renaissance, but more importantly, he witnesses the birth of a new understanding about the nature of civilization itself. Peace and war are not opposites. They are complementary forces that must work together to ensure survival. The gentle Keth provide wisdom and stability, while humanity offers the strength to face challenges that diplomacy cannot solve. The transformed Void Hunters become Earth's newest residents, living in the planet's most extreme environments, where their crystalline forms can thrive. Their ancient knowledge combines with human innovation to create technologies that benefit the entire galaxy. The creatures that once threatened all life become guardians of the civilizations they had previously hunted. The story concludes with a scene that mirrors its beginning. Ambassador Vex stands on an observation deck, but now she looks out at a thriving Keth world being rebuilt with hybrid human-Keth Void Hunter technology. The planet below is more beautiful than it had ever been, protected by defenses that no single species could have created alone. Captain Reed joins her at the viewing window, older now, but still carrying the quiet confidence that had impressed her years ago. He mentions that Earth's government has received requests from 17 other civilizations asking for assistance with various galactic threats. Humanity has found its role in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as the species willing to face dangers that others cannot handle. The final image shows ships from dozens of species working together in Earth's orbit, building the headquarters for the new Galactic Defense Force. The Deathworld that was once avoided by peaceful civilizations has become the center of galactic cooperation, proving that sometimes salvation comes from the most unlikely sources.